check this out. This is the only thing I'm going to say with regard to everything that's been going on with the Civil War on the progressive left. The idea of aligning with some people on the right, however you want to describe them, let's give them the benefit of the doubt and not say they're talking about aligning with racists and white supremacists. Here's the problem with aligning with people on the right. They have a fundamentally different goal economically. If you have to 100% not only are you abandoning the identity of the people who are going to be marginalized by that group over there on the right, but you're even abandoning our class critique, our economic critique, because they 100% absolutely reject this message that we're talking about, because they all think that they're simply displaced millionaires, that one day they're going to be the next billionaire, right? And they feel like the society is fine, that the only thing that's wrong with society is that they just haven't worked hard enough to get their billions. That's their way of thinking. And so this possibility of working together with people on the right, what else are you going to sacrifice, right? You've already clearly sacrificed marginalized groups, Black women, Black people, women of color, people of color, transgender, the LGBTQ community. You already marginalized all those identities. Now you're going to marginalize and sacrifice, rather, your economic critique. Like, why are you a leftist? What makes you a leftist if you abandon everything? Not only are you abandoning marginalized groups, but you're also abandoning your economic critique because in your class analysis, because there's not a single person on the right who's willing to. I mean, you're talking about libertarians who don't even want tax, right? They don't even want income tax. They want to take a snapshot of society right now and allow us to fend for ourselves. And the survival of the fittest, the survival of the economic fittest. Never mind all the historical things that led to exactly where we are. Never mind the millions of people who have been abused in this class structure by the top 1%. Doesn't matter. Let's take a snapshot of where we are, disband everything and cut off federal income taxes, and every man for his economic self. These are the people that you want to align with. So while all last week and the week before, we're talking about how offensive this idea is because of the marginalized groups, but now we're talking about what's our purpose for being a leftist then? If you're going to abandon your economic critique and your expectation of a civilization where people pay into the society the percentage from which they take away. If our economic system creates $1 trillion and you have 25 people who make 80% of that, then they need to pay 80% of what it costs to run the society in which we all live. Hell, you're taking 80% of the wealth that this society creates. You need to be paying 80% of what it takes to run the society that we approve of. You got to keep your workers happy. But they've been able to shirk their responsibility for generations because of the Democratic Party as well as the Republican Party. Of this, there is no dispute. Of this is the number. If you want to ask me why I oppose neoliberalism, it's because they thought this was a good idea. They were like, maybe we as Democrats can get a little bit of this change. But as much as I oppose the DNC on this very specific issue, I also know that their opposition wants to take this and just do away with federal taxes and say every man for his economic self. You might have been born into a lineage of people that were sandbagged for hundreds of years because of slavery and redlining, Jim Crow, mass incarceration, the pillaging of our communities. You may be from that community, but that doesn't matter because, Jim Bob over there, he's got his $1 million. He's got it made. Maybe you go get a job with Jim Bob and the federal government can't regulate it. That's the type of people that we're talking about on the right. They do not see, they listen to this conversation and they feel like we need to be put in jail. So for the love of God, let's forget about the marginalized communities just for 2.1 seconds, right? We're going to pick it right back up. It's too late. I'm already picking it back up. But we can't forget about the marginalized communities. But if we put the marginalized communities to the side for a second, how are you even a progressive now that you have abandoned your economic critique in order to get some type of anti-war alliance with people who are not anti-war? That's all I'm gonna say about that.